Hello everyone, thank you for having me. My name is Karen Rain Molinos and I'm going to be speaking to you today about the heart of the Earth. Our home planet provides us with life and protects us from space. Earth, our home planet, is a world unlike any other. The third planet from the Sun. Earth is the place is known as universe confirms the host of life.
Invasive species. What are they? How are they detrimental to the environment and who are they? Invasive species are any living organism that are not native to an environment and causes harm to it. They induce detrimental effects to the ecosystem in several ways. Their direct threats include preying on native species, outcompeting native species for food and other resources, spread of disease, and preventing native species from reproducing. Their indirect threats, on the other hand, is where they can change the food web of an ecosystem by destroying native food sources. They may provide little to no food value for wildlife, and they can also alter the abundance of habitat for natural wildlife. Natural predators to these aggressive invasive species may not be present. Hence, it can breed and spread quickly, taking over an area. Now for the big question. Who are these invasive species? An example is the northern Pacific sea star. They will eat almost anything they can find, and they reproduce very quickly. But what about humans? Do humans fit the description of invasive species? Anthropogenic effects. Now let's talk about how human activity affects the environment, the ecosystem, and biodiversity. We endlessly mine mountains for minerals, change landscapes to turn into cities, cut down trees off of mountains, and pollute the land with chemicals and trash. Improper treatment and negligence of land maintenance has caused erosions, landslides, flash floods, and pollution of the soil, disturbing the sedimentary cycle and rendering it uninhabitable for flora and therefore fauna. By mining phosphorus for fertilizers and making use of it, we unknowingly disturb the balance of our phosphorus cycle. Any factor that increases erosion and the amount of phosphorus in the soil increases the potential phosphorus runoff to downhill aquatic systems. Phosphorus buildup in upland soils could cause water quality problems and inhibit an overgrowth of organisms such as algae, which are harmful to plants and animals in the form of algae blooms. Majority of the disturbances on land are inflicted by us humans. By manipulating nature to fit our needs, we are to blame for this gradual destruction, and we are to blame for this environmental deterioration.
The sedimentary cycle. As one of the Earth's primary processes, the sedimentary cycle is one of which we are very familiar with and have and are encountering on a daily basis. As this process of one of Earth's natural phenomena, the sedimentary cycle has 4 steps in its main process. First of which is weathering, wherein an existing rock undergoes erosion, which is mainly caused by friction, or an example, erosion due to extremely long periods of exposure to sunlight or by getting hit by waves and currents from the ocean. The next step in this process will then be transportation. This is now the part where the eroded particles from the rock are then carried along by a current by water or wind, where it finally heads towards the third and fourth step in the cycle, which are the materials deposition and compaction. After the minerals have arrived towards where the current took it, it will now then undergo deposition, wherein each tiny mineral carried via water or wind or in any other way are then inserted towards land formations or land masses, where it finally then compacts itself. This is now where the mineral, or as we may call it, the sediment, now begins to lose its porosity, and with the steady buildup of the sediment, the minerals on the lower layers are then squeezed together tightly up to wherein any water previously mixed in continuously gets forced out as pressure increases. Now after this process, this sediment then becomes a sedimentary rock. Now if you ever wondered how these rocks are formed, there you go.
What is phosphorus cycle? Phosphorus cycle is a highly important ingredient in life, be it in plant, insects, animal, or everything that basically on living creature. Where do we get them? As important as it seems, phosphorus is actually the scariest element found in biosphere, and therefore making it seem limiting factor in producing and reproducing living beings. Fertilizers are known to be creators of wonder on farming, whether it's for business, for personal purposes.
Now we are moving on towards epigenetics, or as they may call it, the study of genes and how one's behavior and environment may cause changes that affect our bodies on a genetic level. But unlike genetic changes, epigenetics are reversible and does not change your gene sequence, but they can determine or rather change how the body reads a DNA sequence, and it affects gene expression in three different ways. DNA methylation, which works by adding a chemical group to the DNA, histone modification, wherein DNA wraps around proteins that are called histones, and non-coding RNA. Non-coding RNA helps control gene expression by attaching to coding RNA, along with certain proteins to break down the coding RNA so that it cannot be used to make proteins. Although epigenetics may sound rather alarming, epigenetics is a natural phenomena that occurs within each and every individual as they age and grow, or how they behave in the environment they are in. An example of this is how a child behaves differently from an adult. That is one of the most prime examples of epigenetics. And furthermore, not all changes done by epigenetics is irreversible, as some can be further added or removed depending on the individual's behavior and environment. Now, if you ever wonder why a person you know so much suddenly changes, it may be because of their environment or because of their age.
Hi, I'm Kenneth Pagirigan. Thanks for watching.